Welcome, Chosen One, the one guided and supported by the universe's own laws of balance. And what did they say about you? Oh, how cute. They really never noticed the giant energy standing behind you, the force that has been watching them clown around this whole time. Here's the truth you already feel in your bones. Some people don't get destroyed by others. They destroy themselves the moment they touch the wrong one. And that's exactly what's happening now. Someone out there is about to sign their own death certificate, and they don't even realize the pen they're using is dipped in their own karma. Now, imagine this for a moment. Chosen One. A person walks into a room thinking they're the smartest villain in the movie. They smirk, they plot, they poke the wrong lion because they swear it's asleep. But the lion opens one eye, stretches, and suddenly the predator becomes the prey. That's the moment we're talking about. The exact second they misread your silence as weakness, misread your healing as failure, misread your stillness as defeat. They walked right into their own trap, thinking it was yours. And the universe didn't have to punish them. They punished themselves just by touching you. Here's a fact that makes the enemy flinch. In psychology, there's something called the boomerang effect. When someone tries to harm another person with the wrong motives, the energy rebounds and hits them harder than they expected. Another fact. People who obsess over someone else's downfall statistically ruin their own progress by up to 60% because their brain literally loses focus and drains itself with jealousy. So yes, Chosen One, your intuition is correct. They didn't fall because of you. They fell because they aimed at you. And thank you, Chosen One. Don't forget to pay this message back by simply pressing like and subscribe to help spread this message to more souls, as it's the responsibility of all of us to spread the light. And thank you, Chosen One, for being a part of this mission. You are part of a force that stands tall, even when the world tries to push it down. Now, let's get back to why this moment is so important. This isn't some random downfall happening in the background. This is the exact scene where the universe gently turns your head and whispers, "Look." Look at what happens when someone tries to play games with someone who was never meant to lose. They wanted you sad, but you were building. They wanted you destroyed, but you were upgrading. They wanted you isolated, but you were evolving in silence. And now that you've stepped back into the world with your glow, confidence and strength, they can't handle it. It's funny, Chosen One. They thought hurting you would be entertaining. They thought you'd break, cry, and stay low. They even told people stories about your downfall, fully believing their own lies. But then you walk back into the picture looking like a brand new version of yourself. And that one moment, that one sneeze of confidence you carried, it cracked their whole reality. Oh, look at them, shaking now. Because your comeback didn't just surprise them, it embarrassed them. This is what gets them every time. You didn't beg, you didn't attack, you didn't collapse, you just rose. And rising was the one move they never prepared for. Rising was the slap they didn't see coming. Rising was the thing that made everything they did look stupid in hindsight. And now the universe is sitting in the corner, legs crossed, smirking like Harley Quinn, watching someone dig their own grave with glittery pink shovels. Understand this clearly. When someone goes after a chosen one, they aren't fighting a person. They're fighting the consequences that follow. They're fighting the natural backlash that hits anyone who tries to sabotage someone, protected by alignment, growth, and truth. They threw negativity at you thinking it would stick. They expected you to fall victim to their manipulation, their rumors, their little jealousy spells. But every single thing they sent bounced off you like rubber and came back at them like a brick. You didn't even have to lift a finger. That's the part that humiliates them most. You didn't destroy them. You didn't expose them. You didn't chase them. You just kept moving. And your movement became the mirror that showed them their own failure, their own emptiness, their own weakness. Some people press the self-destruct button without realizing it, and the button they pressed was you, thinking they could play with you, thinking they could take from you, thinking they could hurt you and walk away clean. But you were the one person they should have never touched. You were the one line they shouldn't have crossed. You were the one soul they could never break. And now they're watching their own signature dry on the very certificate they wrote for themselves. While you rise even higher, chosen one. And chosen one, stick with me for a second, because what you just heard was the movie trailer. The real show is only now walking onto the stage, and it's wearing your enemy's name on the front row seat. We're about to break this whole thing down step by step. Every lie they told, every trick they pulled, every moment they thought they were winning. This is where you finally understand why their downfall was guaranteed the minute they tried to mess with you. Drop the number 77 in the comments if you're ready to watch them sign their own certificate with the same hands they used to attack you. And if you feel called, bless the team behind this message with a super thanks. Your support is what keeps this mission alive and fuels these truth bombs for every chosen one who needs them. And now, chosen one, let's walk into the real story together. Because if you truly carry that chosen energy, if you really are who your soul keeps whispering you are, you're going to feel this next part drag you in like gravity. Don't rush. Don't blink. Just follow the thread all the way through. Let's get started. Number 1. Oh, look at them, thinking you were finished. Oh, look at them, thinking the story ended just because they closed the book. That's the kind of quote that makes the enemy swallow their own ego, because they really believed your silence meant defeat. They thought your absence meant you disappeared. They thought your pain meant you'd never rise again. And the funniest part, they were celebrating, bragging, running their mouths like they finally got the ending they always wanted. Meanwhile, chosen one, you were in the shadows building something they couldn't even imagine. You weren't gone, you weren't broken, you were upgrading quietly, and that silence they mocked, that silence was your construction zone. Now imagine this for a moment, chosen one. A storm sweeps through a city, loud, violent, in-your-face destruction. People panic, run around, scream, but afterward, there's a weird stillness. The birds go quiet, the air gets heavy, and right before everything transforms, there is that one moment where nothing moves. That was you. They mistook that silence for the end. They didn't know that the stillness after a storm is the exact moment the world resets itself. You weren't falling apart. You were recalibrating. You were stepping back so you could step in with force. And here's a fact to refresh your confidence. Psychologists say that people mistake silence for surrender because their minds are wired to assume the worst about anything they don't understand. That means your silence didn't show weakness. It exposed their lack of depth. Another fact. Some of the most powerful people on Earth rose during periods when everyone assumed they were finished. Think about Michael Jordan when he got cut from his high school basketball team. Think about Steve Jobs when Apple fired him. Think about J.K. Rowling writing her first book, Broke and Invisible. Greatness often hides itself in disguise before it explodes. You were in disguise, chosen one, and they were too dumb to realize it. This is why your enemy looks so shocked now. They saw you fall, but they never saw you land. They predicted your ending before the plot twist even arrived. They walked around talking like they defeated you, like they ruined you, like they finally humbled you. They thought they broke something permanent in your spirit, but the chosen don't break. They bend, they bleed, they rebuild, they reinvent. And when they return, it is always with something stronger than what was taken from them. You know what makes your rise so humiliating to them? It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. You didn't announce anything. You didn't post a comeback speech. You didn't run back begging for validation or attention. You simply healed, quietly. You worked on your mind, your spirit, your confidence. You took the hits, you processed the pain, and you stacked power like it was your new side hustle. And when you finally stepped out again, it wasn't just a glow-up. It was a whole shift in your atmosphere. They wanted you to be the villain in your own story. They wanted to watch you crumble. They wanted you to stay down so they could feel big, but chosen one. Your very existence ruins insecure people. Your energy exposes people who fake strength. Your silence exposes people who rely on noise to feel relevant, and your comeback exposes everyone who ever doubted you. That's why they're flinching. That's why they're quiet. That's why they're confused. You might be wondering, why did they celebrate so fast? Why did they assume I was finished just because I took a break? Simple. Weak people celebrate too early. They blow their victory horn before the race is even halfway done. They think hurting you once means hurting you forever. They think emotional pain stays in your system like a permanent stain. They have no idea how dangerous a chosen one becomes after a heartbreak, after a betrayal, after a setback. They thought the chapter was the whole book. Meanwhile, you were turning the page. The universe has a funny way of protecting certain people. You ever notice how some of the strongest souls go through silent seasons? Seasons where they disappear, not because they're defeated, but because they're being rebuilt? What they mistake for your downfall was just your cocoon. Butterflies look dead before they transform. Stars look invisible before they explode into light. Diamonds get buried before they shine. You were the same. They didn't recognize the process, so they assumed the result. That's on them. And chosen one, you need to understand this. Your comeback was never meant to make sense to them. It was meant to shock them. It was meant to humble them. It was meant to show them that you didn't need their validation, their support, their pity, or their approval to rise. You rose because it was time, not because they allowed it. Some people think they win when you fall. But the chosen ones know something deeper. Falling is how you gather the strength to stand taller. Every insult you swallowed gave you wisdom. Every betrayal sharpened your instincts. Every silent night rewired your focus. You became stronger because the world forced you to be. And the irony. The same people who tried to break you are the ones who built the strongest version of you. This is why your glow scares them now. This is why they avoid you. This is why their energy shifts when you enter a room. They know you saw them celebrating too early. They know you heard the lies they spread. They know you noticed their excitement over your pain. They know you felt the betrayal. And yet you still came back brighter. That's the part that destroys them. Not your success, not your transformation, but the fact that they couldn't stop you. Their delusion is the joke of the century. They thought you were finished because they can't imagine surviving what you survived. They can't picture themselves standing after taking the hits you took. They break easily. You don't. And that difference is what marks you as chosen. And let me answer the big question that's probably floating in the back of your mind. Why does my glow bother them this much? Because your existence shows them what they could have been if they weren't so jealous, insecure, petty, and weak. Your growth reminds them of their stagnation. Your healing reminds them of their bitterness. Your silence reminds them of how loud their insecurities really are. You being you is the punishment they earned. This is your moment now. You're not just rising, you're rewriting the whole timeline. You're proving that the chosen ones don't lose. They reload, they don't decay, they transform, they don't break, they evolve. You're walking proof that what was meant to destroy you was secretly building you into someone unstoppable. So let them watch, chosen one. Let them choke on their own assumptions. Let them sit with the shock of realizing you were never done, you were just getting started. Their celebration was premature. Their confidence was fake. Their victory was imaginary. But your comeback is real, loud, powerful, and undeniable. And oh, look at them now, staring at the one they thought was finished, realizing they were cheering for the wrong ending. The story didn't end. It just shifted into your favor, and they're stuck watching the sequel where you win, and they learn exactly who they messed with. Number 2, your comeback slapped their soul. Your comeback slapped their soul. Some people don't get shocked because you changed. They get shocked because they finally see who you were the whole time. That line alone is enough to make your enemy's chest cave in, because the moment they saw you again, chosen one, their entire spirit glitched like a broken video game. They expected to meet the old version of you, the one they hurt, the one they underestimated, the one they swore would never rise again. Instead, you walked in looking like you just stepped out of a victory montage. No announcement, no speech, no warning, just presence. And your presence alone dragged them harder than any revenge ever could. Now imagine this for a moment. Chosen one, a kid in school shoves someone thinking they're weak. He brags, laughs, tells everyone he handled them, but he didn't know that the kid he pushed was secretly the black belt champion of the district. When the truth finally comes out, the bully's soul leaves his body for a second. His mouth goes dry. His pride evaporates. That's exactly what your enemy felt when they saw you. The sudden realization that the person they messed with wasn't weak. You were simply quiet. You were simply healing. You were simply preparing. And here's a fun fact psychologists agree on. The brain freezes when it encounters something that contradicts a strong belief. It literally lags. That's why they stared at you like they saw a ghost. Their brain was trying to process how the person they thought they ended is standing in front of them, glowing, confident, and upgraded on every level. They didn't expect a comeback. They expected a corpse. They didn't expect confidence. They expected collapse. They didn't expect a chosen one. They expected a victim. The moment they saw you walk in, you didn't just trigger them, you exposed them. You exposed their lies. You exposed their gossip. You exposed their weak attempts to sabotage you. You exposed their lack of power. They told people you were done, ruined, broken, embarrassed. They told people you were hiding because you couldn't face the world. But when you appeared, when you walked in with that quiet confidence, when your energy entered the room before you even opened your mouth, oh, it slapped them so hard that their soul momentarily clocked out. They saw something in you they didn't recognize, something they never imagined they'd have to face. Growth. Real growth. Not the Instagram quote type, the painful one. The kind you earn through endurance, silence, reflection, rebuilding, learning, and outgrowing everything that once hurt you. You transformed in the dark while they plotted in the light. And when you stepped back into the light, it erased every assumption they ever made about you. Let's bring in a metaphor that hits even deeper. Picture a phoenix, chosen one. Not the dramatic fiery transformation people obsess over, but the part before that, the ashes. Everyone sees the phoenix rise, but they forget that ashes are silent. Ashes are underestimated. Ashes are dismissed. But inside those ashes is the blueprint of something unstoppable. They mistook your ashes for your ending. They didn't know you were regenerating. So seeing you now is like watching the ashes catch fire right in front of them. It shakes their entire world. You may ask yourself, why did my glow bother them so much? Simple. Your glow isn't just light, it's truth. When a truth enters the room, every lie gets exposed. When your strength appears, every fake flex gets revealed. When your energy upgrades, every insecure person feels it like a punch to the gut. Think of iconic comebacks in history. Muhammad Ali getting back in the ring after suspension. Taylor Swift rebranding and returning after years of hate. Nelson Mandela stepping out of prison and becoming a world leader. Their enemies didn't hate their comeback. They hated what their comeback proved. It proved resilience. It proved purpose. It proved destiny. And your comeback did the same. When your enemy saw you, they didn't just see you, they saw their failure. They saw the proof that nothing they did worked. They saw all the damage they tried to create bounce off you like rubber. They saw that the story they told about you was a lie. They saw that the person they tried to destroy turned into someone untouchable. You know what really slapped their soul? The fact that you didn't need revenge. You didn't need to expose them. You didn't even need to address what happened. Your growth was the revenge. Your new energy was the exposure. Your comeback was the announcement that you're built from something they can't break. This is where the chosen one power shows itself in full force. You didn't become spiteful. You didn't become bitter. You didn't spend your time plotting or proving anything. You focused on evolving. And evolution always humiliates those who try to stunt your growth. They now have to face the sickening reality that everything they tried to do to you only made you more powerful. And here's something else you might be thinking. Why do they look scared of me now? Because people get scared when they realize they misjudged the wrong person. They get scared when they see a power they didn't know existed. They get scared when someone they wrote off walks back with a presence that fills the room. Chosen ones carry a very specific kind of pressure. It's not aggressive, it's not loud, it's not violent, it's energetic authority. It's something that says, I survived everything meant to break me. What do you think you can do now? You didn't need to speak because your aura spoke for you. Your posture spoke. Your eyes spoke. Your calmness spoke. You didn't walk like someone defeated. You walked like someone who saw the dark and came back with the light. That's why they flinched. That's why their voice shook. That's why they avoided your eyes. That's why their body language folded in on itself. They felt the weight of their own actions boomerang back at them the moment your upgraded presence entered their field. They thought you were a loser. They thought you were weak. They thought you were scared. Instead, you showed up looking like victory in human form. You didn't come back as the same character. You came back as the final boss. And the universe made sure they had front row seats to witness it. The comeback wasn't just about healing, it was about revealing your strength, revealing your resilience, revealing your destiny, and revealing their true place in your story, irrelevant, insecure, and outmatched. So, chosen one, understand this deeply. Your comeback slapped their soul because it proved everything they prayed wasn't true. They thought they ended your chapter. You came back writing a whole new book. They thought they dimmed your light. You came back blinding. They thought they outran you. You came back unbeatable. Let them sit with that. Let them feel the shock. Let them choke on their disbelief. You didn't just return. You returned in a way that forces everyone who doubted you to face the truth. You were never the one who lost. You were the one who was becoming, and now they finally see it. Number 3, they wanted you weak. You turned into steel. Some people hit you to break you, not knowing you're the type who turns every bruise into armor. That's the punchline the enemy can't swallow. Chosen one, every attack they threw at you, every insult, betrayal, sneaky jab, fake smile, hidden agenda, whispered lie. They thought it was pushing you closer to collapse. They wanted you crawling. They wanted you begging. They wanted you confused, drained, and questioning your worth. But here's the part that burns them alive. Every hit they threw became the fire that reshaped you into steel. What they meant for damage became your training. What they meant for fear became your focus. What they meant for destruction became your evolution. The universe watched every attempt they made to weaken you and quietly whispered, "Good. Let them try. They have no idea who they're forging." Now let's break their delusion with something simple. Metal doesn't become steel until it gets heated, beaten, reshaped, and cooled. Pressure doesn't destroy diamonds, it creates them. Even NASA builds spacecraft by slamming them into extreme forces to see if they can survive space. The chosen ones survive pressure because their purpose requires it. The universe was never punishing you, it was preparing you. While they thought you were falling apart, you were actually leveling up into someone who could handle what they never could. And you might ask yourself, why did it have to be me? Why did I have to take all those hits? The answer is brutal but true, because only someone built for greatness survives what you survived. Anyone else would have folded. Anyone else would have stayed broken. Anyone else would have lost their mind. But not you. You took every blow and turned it into knowledge. You took every betrayal and turned it into boundaries. You took every heartbreak and turned it into self-respect. You didn't get weaker. You evolved into something unshakable. That's why they can't stand next to you now. Your energy exposes their weakness. Your strength exposes their insecurities. Your growth exposes their stagnation. You became everything they pretended to be. You became everything they swore you'd never reach. And now, standing next to you feels like standing next to a mirror they can't handle. The universe is with you now more than ever. You didn't rise alone. Every time you wanted to quit, something inside kept you standing. That wasn't ego, that was alignment. That was protection. That was destiny, moving you like a chess piece, positioning you for the victory they never saw coming. And here's the part no one tells you. Enemies don't fear your wins. They fear your resilience. Because resilience proves you can't be controlled, manipulated, or broken. It proves their power over you was always imaginary. They hit you thinking you'd shatter. Instead, you upgraded. That's why their faces look sick whenever they see you now. You are proof that every attack they launched only built the version of you they're terrified of. Let them be mad. Let them choke on confusion. Let them replay every moment they tried to break you and wonder why it didn't work. They didn't understand who they were dealing with. You weren't weak. You were becoming steel, chosen one. And now they have to face the strongest version of you, one they can't touch, can't manipulate, and definitely can't break ever again. Number 4, their desperation made them stupid. When people get obsessed with destroying you, they don't think, they just self-destruct. And that's exactly what happened here. Chosen one. They weren't just messy, they weren't just petty, they were desperate. And desperation turns people into straight-up clowns. You know the type. the ones who swear they're smart, but every move they make screams, "I'm about to ruin my entire life in 3, 2, 1. They wanted so badly to see you fall that they stopped caring about consequences. Your existence started bothering them more than their own survival. They forgot about common sense, forgot about logic, forgot about dignity. They became so obsessed with breaking you that they started breaking every boundary, rule and limit placed in front of them, and the universe watched them spiral like, oh, look at them, choosing the dumbest route possible. Delicious. Chosen one, let me break it down in simple terms. When an enemy can't control you, they try to destroy you. And when they can't destroy you, they end up destroying themselves. That's the universal law. That's nature. That's cosmic karma with a smirk on its face. Think of it like this. Imagine someone trying to pull you into quicksand. They grab you, yank you, try to drag you down with bare hands. But you're not sinking. You're standing on solid ground. And the harder they pull, the deeper they sink. That's what your enemy did. They didn't realize the ground they were fighting on was their own trap. Some people get so desperate they start reaching for power they don't understand. They play with energies they can't handle. They dabble in manipulation, mind games, jealousy-fueled schemes, and straight-up reckless behavior. They think they're sneaky masterminds, but the universe sees everything, and the universe does not let stupidity slide forever. Chosen one, this part is important. They weren't punished because you asked for it. They were punished because that was the natural outcome of their own choices. You didn't swing back. You didn't throw dirt. You didn't need revenge. They delivered it to themselves like a care package. You might wonder, why did they go that far? Why risk so much just to hurt me? Because your existence exposes their insecurity. Your strength reminds them of their weakness. Your progress reminds them of their stagnation. They weren't trying to take you down. They were trying to silence the feeling you awakened inside them. And that feeling was, I will never be as strong as them. So they panicked. They reached for shortcuts. They acted impulsively. They made choices that looked like a toddler playing with electrical outlets, loud, chaotic, and guaranteed to end badly. And here's the hilariously tragic part. Every risky move they made only dug their hole deeper. Every attempt to hurt you made the universe add another tally mark to their karma bill. They thought they were powerful. They thought they were untouchable. They thought they were the villain. But a true villain is calculated, not clumsy. Your enemy was sloppy, and desperation exposes sloppy people for exactly what they are, amateurs. Now you're watching the fallout, their reputation slipping, their connections drying up, their mask cracking, their confidence leaking, their plans collapsing, their mind spiraling. They can't even blame anyone but themselves, though they'll try. Oh, they'll try. But deep down, they know. They know they crossed lines they shouldn't have touched. They know they played with fire while soaking in gasoline. They know they tried to hurt someone the universe personally invested in. And now the bill is due. Chosen one, you didn't have to lift a finger. Their desperation did all the work for you. They lost their balance. They lost their direction. And now they're losing everything they tried to take from you. Let them fall. That's the price of plotting against someone chosen. Number 5. Their sadness was so loud they tried to give it to you. When someone drowns in their own misery, they start throwing buckets of it at you, hoping you'll sink too. That's exactly what happened, chosen one. They weren't reading your energy. They were dumping theirs on you. They were so deep in sadness, insecurity, and emotional rot that they convinced themselves you were just as broken. And when they couldn't find cracks in you, they tried to manufacture them. They told people you were depressed because they were depressed. They told people you were falling apart because they were falling apart. They wanted you to look weak, so their own weakness didn't feel so embarrassing. It was never about you. It was about their own reflection haunting them. But here's what they didn't understand. You're not built like them. You don't crumble just because life throws chaos at you. You don't drown just because the water gets deep. The universe didn't put a victim inside you. It put a survivor, a fighter, and a quiet storm that rebuilds itself every night. And if you're wondering why they projected so hard, here's the truth. People who hate their own life try to make yours look miserable. They try to infect you with their sadness because it's the only language they speak. They wanted you heavy, hopeless, drained, but all it did was expose how empty they were. The universe blocked every piece of their negativity like, not this one, try your luck elsewhere. You walked through their projections untouched, while they got swallowed by the emotions they tried to throw at you. That's the difference between you and them. Your pain built you. Their pain controls them. Number 6. Seeing you shine was their punishment. Some people don't need to be hit. They just need to watch you win, and it destroys them from the inside out. That's exactly what happened here. Chosen one. Your success wasn't even aimed at them, but it sliced through their ego like a hot knife. You were just minding your business, leveling up, breathing, existing, and somehow every little glow-up you had was a nuclear bomb dropped on their self-esteem. They wanted you invisible, they wanted you irrelevant, they wanted you struggling while they bragged, but the universe had other plans, and the moment your light started breaking through their projections, they started spiraling like their whole world was collapsing. And honestly, it kinda was. You shining exposed everything they tried to hide. Their jealousy, their insecurity, their fake confidence, their empty soul. Your glow became their mirror, and they hated what they saw. You ever notice how your wins feel normal to you, but to them, it feels like a personal attack? That's because your happiness triggers the pain they never healed. Your progress reminds them they're stuck. Your resilience reminds them they quit too early. Your strength exposes how fragile they are. And if you're wondering why your light bothers them so much, here's the truth. People who dim their own potential will always resent the ones who shine anyway. It reminds them they had the same 24 hours, the same chances, the same air to breathe, but they chose jealousy instead of growth. The universe stood beside you through every storm, and now it's letting your victories speak for you. That's why they're falling apart every time you rise. You aren't their punishment on purpose. You're their punishment by existence. Number 7. They tried stealing what was meant for you. Joke's on them. A thief can grab what's in your hand, but they'll choke the moment they touch what's meant for your destiny. That's the punchline burning in their chest right now, chosen one. They didn't just envy what you had. They wanted to take it. Your blessings, your opportunities, your energy, your shine. They thought sliding into your lane like some budget knockoff villain would get them the life you're built for. But destiny doesn't work like a clearance rack. You can't steal what isn't coded for your soul. They wanted your path because theirs was empty. They wanted your wins because their life was a drought. They tried to copy your style, your moves, your ideas, even your personality. And every time they reached for what was yours, the universe slapped their hand like, back up, this one isn't for you. Imagine someone trying to eat someone else's food, but they're allergic to every single ingredient. That's exactly what they did. They tried stealing your energy and ended up sick with consequences. They tried grabbing your blessings and it turned into poison, not because you cursed them, but because the universe has locks they can't pick. Chosen one, listen closely. They weren't just jealous, they were delusional. They thought your greatness was takeable, like it was some USB file they could download, but destiny is fingerprint protected. Your blessings are spiritually encrypted. Your path is custom made. That's why everything they tried to snatch slipped through their fingers or blew up in their face. And if you're wondering why they even tried this nonsense, it's because people who refuse to build themselves try to steal what others built. It's a lazy person's fantasy. Let me take what I didn't earn. But what they touched wasn't just yours. It was protected, guarded, and every attempt they made only exposed how small they truly are. Now they're walking around confused, drained, cursed by their own greed. That's what happens when someone tries to take from a chosen one. The universe doesn't just say no. It says, touch that again and watch what happens. Their joke wasn't funny, but the punchline, everything they tried to steal turned into their own downfall. Number 8. They kept testing you like you were soft. Not anymore. Some people think you're weak because you didn't hit back, until life hits them harder than you ever would. That's exactly what's happening now, chosen one. They kept poking you like you were some soft pillow they could punch and fluff back into shape. They kept testing your patience, your peace, your boundaries, your spirit, like consequences were imaginary and the universe was asleep. They really thought they could keep repeating the same attacks without ever getting checked. They forgot something crucial. Silence is not weakness. Restraint is not fear. And you staying calm wasn't you losing. It was you giving them every chance to stop before the universe stepped in. You weren't soft. You were focused. You weren't scared. You were strategic. You weren't letting them walk over you. You were letting Karma build her case. And now, Karma finally slammed her folder shut and said, perfect, time to handle business. Chosen one, the universe watched every test they forced on you, every lie they told, every jab they threw, every time they tried to trigger you or drag you back into pain. They kept pressing buttons, thinking nothing would happen. But the universe has a limit, and they reached it. Hard. Imagine a kid poking a sleeping lion, laughing like it's a game. That's what they did. They thought you were harmless. They thought your quiet was softness. They thought your kindness was weakness. Meanwhile, you were transforming, building armor, sharpening your instincts. You were becoming someone they'll never have access to again. And now the universe said, that's enough. Now their tests backfire. Now their words embarrass them. Now their actions expose them. Now their games collapse on their own heads. They kept testing you because they thought you wouldn't stand up, but it wasn't you they needed to worry about. It was the universe stepping in behind you saying, move, I got it. Their season of free passes is over. Their era of acting bold without consequences is done. Their delusion of you being soft just cost them everything. You didn't even need revenge. Life handled it. Destiny handled it. Their own choices handled it. They tested you like you were nothing. Now they're learning you were protected the whole time. Number 9. Justice walked in like surprisee. You can dodge responsibility, but you can't dodge the moment life says, hey, remember all that trash you did? That's the exact moment they're standing in right now. Chosen one, justice didn't knock. Justice didn't text first. Justice kicked the door in wearing boots and a grin like, surprisee, sweetheart, miss me. They really thought they got away with everything. They thought the lies would stay hidden. They thought their little schemes would never come back. They thought the universe forgot. But justice has ridiculous timing. It waits until they're comfortable, cocky, convinced they're untouchable. Then boom, spotlight. Truth. Exposure so bright, even their shadow runs away. And the funniest part? They're shocked. They're confused. They're holding their head like, why me? Because you earned it, babe. That's why. The universe watched them dodge accountability like it was dodgeball. They lied. They cheated. They stole energy. They manipulated. They threw dirt. They played victim. They talked trash in rooms you weren't in. And every time justice tried to check them, they ran. But karma knows your address, your schedule, your favorite snack, your weaknesses, your browser history. Karma does not lose track. Imagine someone wearing a cheap wig in front of a high-definition spotlight. That's them right now. Every crack, every insecurity, every lie, every fake move. It's all out for everyone to see. They're exposed. And not in some cute, poetic way. Exposed like, oh, so this is who you really were. Exposed like a mask falling off mid-performance. Exposed like a villain in a dollar store costume trying to blend in with superheroes. And here's the part that hits different. You didn't go looking for justice. You didn't beg for karma. You didn't chase revenge. You just healed. You grew. You elevated. You moved forward. And the universe said, perfect. Now I'll handle the rest. Justice came in loud because you stayed silent. Justice came in strong because you stayed strong. Justice came in right on time because you never let bitterness change you. And you might wonder, but why now? Because your energy finally reached a level where the universe needed to clear out every old thread tied to your past. You're walking into a chapter too big, too aligned, too blessed for old enemies to tag along. Justice isn't punishing them out of spite. It's removing them for your protection. Your glow exposed them. Your elevation forced their reckoning. Your strength triggered their downfall. They thought they were hunting you. Turns out they were walking straight into justice's trap. Let them be shocked. Let them be embarrassed. Let them scramble for excuses. Justice walked in smiling because it was overdue. And the universe whispered to you, chosen one, don't look back. This was never your burden to carry. Number 10. Your handouts are closed for business. The day you stopped giving was the day they realized you were the prize, not their personal supply. That's what's hitting them like a frying pan to the forehead right now. Chosen one, you used to help. You used to care. You used to show up with open hands, open heart, open energy. And they treated it like it was a permanent buffet they could raid whenever their life fell apart. They never imagined a day would come when you'd shut the whole store down. Well, surprise. Door locked, window bolted, Wi-Fi disconnected, access denied, return to sender. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever again. They're sitting there blinking like, wait, you're not giving anymore. No, you're not. Because you finally realized something they prayed you'd never notice. You were carrying them, feeding them, uplifting them, filling them, and they were giving you nothing back. They thought your kindness meant unlimited access. They thought your compassion meant use me forever. They thought your loyalty meant I'll take your crap without consequences. They genuinely believed you would never stop giving. That's how entitled they were. But the universe stepped behind you, arms crossed like a bouncer, and said, close the gates. This one has given enough. And you listened. You stopped explaining yourself. You stopped entertaining their sob stories. You stopped rescuing people who drown on purpose. Now they're shocked, confused, nervous, because without you, their whole structure collapses. They don't know how to function without your energy. They don't know how to get things done without your support. They don't know how to feel valuable without your validation. They depended on you more than they ever admitted. And now that your handouts are closed, life is teaching them what gratitude should have taught them. Life is teaching them what effort should have taught them. Life is teaching them what "don't bite the hand that feeds you" really means. You didn't shut the door out of spite. You shut it because the universe is elevating you and not everyone gets to come up with you. You shut it because your energy is rare. You shut it because your blessings are sacred. You shut it because your future is too big for people who drain instead of build. And if you're wondering, did I do the right thing? Yes. 1,000 times yes. Because chosen ones aren't chosen to be doormats. You're chosen to rise, to grow, to protect your power. And sometimes protecting yourself means cutting off the leeches, the moochers, the takers, the manipulators, the just one more favor addicts. Let them panic. Let them pout. Let them tell people you changed. You did change. You evolved past the version of you that tolerated nonsense. Your kindness is still intact. Your heart is still pure. You're just done funding people who invest nothing in return. Your handouts are closed. And honestly, it's about time. Number 12. Your glow-up is the final nail in their coffin. Nothing hurts an enemy more than realizing the person they tried to bury walked out looking richer, stronger, and untouchable. That's the final scene they're stuck watching now. Chosen one, your glow-up isn't just a win. It's their judgment day. Every level you rise to hits them like a shovel to the ego. Every upgrade you step into feels like a funeral bell ringing in their soul. You shining isn't just progress. It's the final nail in the coffin they built with their own hands. Because let's be honest, they thought they ended you. They swore your story was over. They bragged. They celebrated. They told people you were done. Meanwhile, you were in your quiet season, rebuilding, healing, learning, leveling up in ways they didn't even know were possible. You didn't just bounce back. You transformed. You became someone even you didn't see coming. And now they have to watch. They can't stop it. They can't slow it down. They can't reverse it. They can't sabotage it. They can't compete with it. They can't copy it. Everything they try to imitate from you looks awkward, fake, or straight up embarrassing, because glow-ups can't be stolen. They're earned. They're aligned. They're cosmic. They're protected. Your evolution is exposing everything they tried to hide. Your success is highlighting everything they failed at. Your aura is suffocating the lies they told about you. Your confidence is crushing the image they crafted of you. They hate that your wins are loud, even when you're quiet. They hate that your energy is powerful, even when you're calm. They hate that you moved forward while they stayed stuck in the same chapter, rereading their own bad decisions. And if you're wondering why your glow-up feels so divine, it's because the universe always saves the biggest transformation for last. Not only to elevate you, but to close the story, final closure. No sequel for them, no comeback for them, no redemption arc, just consequences. Your glow-up is the universe saying, you made it, you survived, you're chosen, keep walking. And the part that finishes them, you're not even trying to flex. You're not even showing off. You're just existing, and your existence alone is a flex they can't match. They wanted you broken. Instead, you became a version of yourself their imagination wasn't big enough to predict. They wanted you forgotten. Instead, you became unforgettable. They wanted you small. Instead, you became larger than every lie they told. They wanted you scared. Instead, you became fearless. Your glow-up is their regret. Your rise is their karma. Your happiness is their punishment. And the most poetic part, you didn't glow up to hurt them, but the glow still hurt them anyway. Stay untouchable, chosen one. The coffin is closed. The chapter is over. Your light won.